Hey, what's up? Welcome back. Today I've got an absolutely fantastic recipe for you for that traditional, super delicious Greek dish called pastitsio. It is basically pasta, meat sauce, bechamel, all put together, deliciously prepared. At this point, pause it, grab a pen and paper. You're gonna need it because this recipe is like super complicated. It's gonna make you crazy. I'm kidding, it's not actually. It is so simple. It's basically broken down, I'm kidding, into 3 parts: pasta, meat sauce, bechamel. Get those 3 organized and you're gonna be golden. It's gonna be super easy and super fantastic, and it feeds a whole bunch of people. To start us off, very simply, work on our pasta. I've got my pasta water boiling already and it's been salted. I'm gonna take 900 grams of rigatoni. At this point, I'm gonna work on my meat sauce first. I'm gonna throw in my pasta to get that going at the same time. When that's done and out of the way, I'm gonna work on my bechamel and preheat the oven. And for this, I'm using about 1.5 pounds of lean ground beef, which is traditionally what they use. So to my stock pot, I'm gonna add about 3 or 4 or so generous tablespoons of olive oil, Greek extra virgin olive oil. And I'm just gonna take my ground beef and just break it up. The next part of this is onion. Okay, so our onion's been chopped up. Let's put that into our pot and continue on from there. Time to throw in a little garlic. And for this, I'm using 3 cloves or 3 tablespoons of garlic. Now at this stage, you want to season with a little salt and a little pepper. The next part of this is a can of tomato paste, our crushed tomatoes, and that's 1 can of crushed tomatoes, 28 ounces, and another can of water, filling up the same can, about 28 ounces as well. And now the Greek part of this, or what gives it that distinct Greek flavor, and it's the seasoning. And for this, believe it or not, it's basically a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, as well as 2 little cloves, literally 2 cloves for all this sauce. Go right in there. At this point, separate the eggs. And for this, for the bechamel actually, I'm using 4 eggs. My egg yolks, I'm gonna put off to the side here until it's time for my bechamel. And the egg whites, I'm just gonna throw into my pasta when it gets time for that. And you don't even have to whip them or anything like that. Just leave them off to the side and we'll go from there. Greeks don't do this al dente business. Okay, and then that's a nice pasta facial. And this, my dear friends, is what I'll be using to build my pastitsio in today. So for this, basically, just set it there, take your pasta, and just pour it into our pan, just like that, and even it out. At this stage, traditionally, when they make a pastitsio, they add butter into the pasta and kind of melt it throughout. I don't do that, and the reason I don't do that is very simple. Butter makes it waterproof or flavor proof, and I want my sauce that's going into this to actually permeate and absorb into the pasta, so I eliminate that step. It really doesn't do anything for flavor, but it does make a difference in terms of the overall kind of flavor of the pasta. Remember when I was telling you about my egg whites? So I've got 4 egg whites, and I'm just gonna pour those over my pasta, and just take my pasta and smooth it, kind of mix it throughout the egg whites, throughout the pasta. And you can see, I don't know if you can see from there, but it's actually starting to cook. The egg whites are starting to cook and they're actually turning white. I've got my microplane, and what I'm going to do is take a small chunk of mizithra. I use mizithra. You can use Parmesan or any other hard cheese you like. And I'm just gonna throw this in my microplane and real quick, just grate this over my noodles. Mitzvah is also that goat's milk cheese that you find. You can find it in Greek specialty shops. A lot of cheesemongers will have it now. It's fantastic. Naturally, like most Greeks, I smuggle mine in. I'm kidding. I sneak it in. But anyway, mix this in just like that. And this is looking absolutely amazing. All right, so now the next part of this, I'm gonna move this off to here, is incorporating our sauce. So just take it and pour it. Look at that. Now this is what I'm talking about. Just mix it all nice and easy. All right, so now that our pasta and sauce have been incorporated, we do another layer of mitzvah over this. And this is actually going to act like a little barrier for our bechamel to sit on. And believe me when I tell you, I don't recommend going swimming after eating this. Alrighty, so now our pasta and meat sauce is done. It's put away. Ready now for the next part of this and the final stage, which is our bechamel sauce. Because the size of the pastitsio I'm making today is actually double, we're gonna double up our bechamel recipe as well. So before we actually start on the bechamel, I've preheated my oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 degrees Celsius. Get that going because right after we incorporate the bechamel and put it onto our pastitsio, we're gonna bake this off. You don't wanna get this too high, you wanna get this to about a medium high because what you wanna do is melt your butter. And for this, I'm using, like I said, double the recipe. So I'm using, instead of 1 stick of butter, I'm gonna be using 2 sticks of butter. So there's 1 stick of butter going in, and there's the other stick of butter. Now, while this is melting down, I'll tell you what else is gonna go into this bechamel. Double the recipe, instead of 6 cups of milk, 12 cups of milk. It's a lot of milk, it's a lot of pastitsio, I know. And instead of 1 cup of flour, 2 cups of flour. Typically for my bechamel video that I'll include a link to in the description below, I use half a cup per 1 stick of butter, but in order to speed things up and kind of get things moving, I double up the flour recipe to 1 cup per stick of butter. So in this case, not to confuse you, just remember 2 sticks of butter, 2 cups of flour. Another trick I use to making my bechamels come out smooth and creamy and light is a whisk. So now my butter is pretty much melted. Time to slowly add my flour. And you want to kind of add and stir with this. Keep this moving at this point, and don't be in a rush to add the milk at this point because what you want to do is burn off some of that starchy flour flavor. All right, so now that our flour and our butter or our roux is in there, the only way that I can safely move around 12 cups of milk without making a mess everywhere is through a pot. And here I have a saucepan actually, and adding about 1/4 of my milk at a time, and just start kind of in circular whisking motions. Let the flour or the roux dissolve. Take some more milk and slowly add it to it. Again, another secret is to not have super cold milk. Let your milk kind of put it in the microwave for maybe like 30 to 45 seconds just to take that really cold chill out of it. So now that I've incorporated all of our milk into our bechamel, the next part of this is just letting it go, keeping an eye on it, keeping it constantly moving until it thickens up to the way we want it. And also, there is nothing worse, there is no greater sin than running bechamel. If you cut into your pastitsio, your moussaka, or anything else, and it all of a sudden comes out gooey, runny, and shitty, that's no good. As our bechamel now has started tightening up, the secret that little know about, but really you'll appreciate a lot in terms of the flavor, is adding a little Greek extra virgin olive oil, maybe 3 or 4 tablespoons to this entire bechamel, and just stir that around. It will give you that authentic kind of down-home village flavor that you that really you won't find in a restaurant or a commercial pastitsio or moussaka, but it's the way they make it at home. So now as our bechamel continues to tighten, it's time for our egg yolks. Here I have 4 egg yolks that I'm just going to really loosely beat, and I'm just going to add them to my bechamel at this stage of the game, which is just as they're starting to tighten up, or actually the bechamel is starting to tighten up. Do about 1/8 to 1/4 of a nutmeg pod, freshly grated over this, and we have our pan of pastitsio here, setting it on there. This is thickening up beautifully. At this point as well, I want to add a little bit of salt and a little bit of fresh cracked black pepper into our bechamel. I always leave it for the last. I don't know why. It's the woman that showed me this recipe in Greece. That's how she did it. That's how I'm doing it, and that's how I'm showing you to do it. So this is pretty much ready to go now. Our bechamel is at the right thickness. It's nice and thick and creamy and rich, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. Only one thing left to do. So I'm just gonna put this here like that, and very carefully remember, after eating this, do not plan on doing any running or major athletic activities, believe me. So now this, the way it is, I will sprinkle on some mizithra at the very top as just like a little light sprinkling of happiness, just like that. And this is ready to go into the oven. I preheated my oven like we were talking about at the beginning while I'm doing the bechamel. Preheated my oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to pop this in for about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on your oven. What you ultimately want to do is brown the top and have some nice blistering happening. And once this is done, I'm going to pull it out and I'll show you what it looks like. My dear friends, I cannot tell you the emotional roller coaster I'm on right now. My pastitsio is ready. It's been done. It's been sitting out for about an hour or so. It is done to perfection. This is perfect, absolutely perfect. Sadly for you today, I won't be cutting this because, like I said, I'm making it for my dear friend Ange and his 50th, but I will tell you that this is exactly what you're looking for. I mean, this is so amazing. I really enjoyed making this video for you. It was a blast for me. I hope I actually showed you that how simple even dishes like this can be if you organize yourself and you kind of put things in the right order. Basically, pasta, tomato sauce or meat sauce, bechamel, put it all together, bake it off, and it's done. And you've got a meal for like 10 to 12 here. So it'll feed a small army or a few Greeks. But anyway, so thank you very much for watching. I'm Ken. I appreciate your time. Hit the like button, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, and let's keep cooking. Let's share our experiences, our values. No matter what, cooking is what unites people, and eating certainly makes me happy and unites me with everybody. So until next time, thank you very much for watching. I'm Ken. Bye for now.